So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this episode of this live analysis paper, we will be talking about the Indian Express newspaper. We will be talking about few articles which can be important. Okay. So if we talk about today's newspaper, it was quite lengthy when we see 26 pages were there, but most of them were advertisement and there is this Engineers Day and all these things were there. So we will be we will not go into details of all those things, but we will be just focusing on the you can say articles which can be important for us. Okay, so we will start with the Bihar 65% quota scrapped, then we'll come to the unconventional pro-tem speaker. We have talked about the pro-tem speaker, okay, but again now why we are calling it unconventional, because when we are talking about this pro-tem speaker, I have told you many times that there is this convention which has to be followed, but the thing is this time this convention was not followed. When we will see how it was done. Okay, then what is hooch? Recently in Tamil Nadu there was few deaths, okay, and these deaths were related to a particular kind of alcohol. Okay, so that alcohol is called hooch. We will see how it is prepared and how it is different from the branded alcohols. Okay, so this is there. Other than that, from around the world there is not much to discuss, but there is one or two articles which are there and on the basis of which we will be discussing maps. Okay, then for your own read there will be one article which is related to China, how the current government or the third term of the Modi government will face, or you can say deal with the China's challenge. Okay, so that is about today's discussion. This is your front page. Here you can see there is this headline, that is Delhi court grants Kejriwal bail, declined ED's plea for 48 hours hold, agency to move to High Court today. Okay, so we will see that how these when we are talking about the PMLA, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, we will see what section 45 is about. So that would be all in our discussion. Otherwise this is not very much to discuss because we have already talked about ED etc. in our previous discussions. Okay, so we will not go into much details. Okay, then there was this PM has visited when we are talking about this particular summit was there in Srinagar, and he has visited and he has said that statehood for Jammu and Kashmir soon, preparation for the state polls on. Okay, so that is there. So right now we will not go into details of this as well, because this is a kind of a summit was there and there was this statement made, and on the basis of which this article was there. There is nothing significant from our exams point of view. Okay, now coming to the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture, that is which of the following animal are social animals and that live in groups called herds and probably have names for each other. Okay, elephants, sloth bear, leopards and koalas. Okay, when we are talking about the sloth bears, you must have seen that these bears will be roaming around in a solitude, or they will be roaming around alone. Okay, so this is not social being. When we are talking about leopards, they are also not living in any kind of pack. Okay, they are also, you can say, moving alone. They are basically moving in a very less number, or otherwise you will see that they will go for hunt, okay, alone only. Okay, then koalas, it seems that they might be very social, but you will see that even though they are found in the grasslands etc., but they are living in solitude. Okay, so elephants are the one which we have already talked about. Elephants live in a herd, and the leader will be probably a woman, a female. So a female elephant will be a you can say leader of that particular herd, and they probably have names for each other, which we have seen in the yesterday's lecture. Okay, so now moving further, yes, exactly, article 94 talks about pro-tem speaker and yeah, yoga day, so that is there. Now coming to the first article, that is talking about the Bihar's you can say 65% reservation. When we are talking about Bihar, recently there was this bill, or you can the government over there, they have come up with the 65% reservation, because you must have heard about this particular thing which has happened, a caste census. Okay, that has happened in Bihar, and with respect to that they have come up with their data, and they said that the population over there, okay, so report shows that the 85% of the state's population belongs to OBC, EBC, SC and ST community. Okay, so this particular report says 85% of the people are from these communities. Okay, and that is why they have gone for the 65% of the reservation, plus that 10% is there for the EWS. So total 75% reservation in the, you can say, state. But the thing is, the court over here, High Court in Bihar, they basically scrapped it, because you know that we have this judgment of 1992, that is Indira Sahani. We have actually talked about this case various times. Okay, this particular case, Indira Sahani case, puts a bar that is 50%, that reservation should not exceed 50% until unless there is a exceptional circumstances. Okay, and that exceptional circumstances has to be justified based on data. Okay, now they have actually scrapped it. We will see why they have scrapped it. Okay, and second thing is, what are the options available to the Bihar government now? Okay, so first thing, why? Because when we are talking about the Article 15 clause 4 and 16 clause 4, these are talking about the affirmative action. Okay, Article 15, you know that Article 14 is about equality, and in 15 and 16 it is said that we will not discriminate on basis of certain things, and in clause 4 they have provided for the affirmative action. Okay, affirmative action means that they will be providing for the special provisions for, you can say, vulnerable classes. Okay, so that 15 and 16 there was there. So here you can say this is working against the core principle of Article 15 clause 4 and 16 clause 4, dealing with the right to equality. The court says the enhancement of the reservation beyond 50% limit is a bad in law based on the principle of equality. We hence set aside the Bihar reservation of vacancy in post and services for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and other backward classes, Amendment Act 2023. This is the name of the act. You don't have to remember the name. Okay, so this is the name of the act. And the Bihar reservation in admissions to educational institution, Amendment Act 2023. Okay, so these are the two acts. Okay, one is related to the, you can say, vacancies or you can say appointments. Second is related to the admissions in the educational institution. That is what 15.4 is talking about, and then this is what 16.4 is talking about. Okay, so basically they said that to make sure the equality is there, we will be going for scrapping this particular article. Okay, 14, 15, 16, these are the articles which is important for you. Okay, so that is about it. And then when we come to what is next Bihar government can do, so Bihar government is asking to put these laws under Schedule 9. Okay, Schedule 9 or 9th schedule, when we are talking about, this is kind of a schedule wherein you will be putting a you can say, earlier when we are talking about before the Kejriwal judgment, before that there was this thing that if you are putting a law in 9th schedule, then there won't be any judicial scrutiny or there won't be any judicial review of that particular law. Okay, but then afterwards, you know that this judgment came, Kejriwal judgment, and after that, that is also called as 9th schedule case. In 9th schedule case, it was said that after 1973, when we are talking about the Kejriwal Bharati's judgment, okay, that was 24th of April 1973. After that, whatever changes has been happened in the constitution, even if you are putting it inside the 9th schedule, then also it is open to the judicial review. So right now, even if they are putting it into the 9th schedule, still it will be under the judicial review. Okay, so they are trying to, Bihar government is trying to do that. Nitish has first demanded the inclusion of Bihar quota hike laws in the 9th schedule of the constitution when he was part of the opposition India bloc. He is set to do it now when he is partner in the NDA government. 9th schedule of the constitution includes a list of central and state lists that cannot be challenged in the court. That was the case. Okay, in this reaction to the courts, JDU, MLC, spokesperson, all these things, these are not important for us right now. Just know that what is 9th schedule is talking about. Okay, then afterwards there was this judgment which says that even if you are in the 9th schedule and this basically you can say changes has been made after the Kejriwal Bharati judgment, okay, so that is open to the judicial review, and ultimately the aim is that you will not be violating the basic structure. Okay, so that is about this particular article. We will be talking about this quota and what is the condition in when we are talking about the Bihar reservation. Though 2nd October 2023 caste census released by the Bihar government. Okay, and as I told you, this caste census was released, and on the basis of which they have this data, who belongs to which caste, how many people, how many of percentage of the population is from particular caste. Okay, now Bihar government decided to increase the reservation based on the census. Okay, they have said that an amendment bill has been passed on 9th November 2023. Reservation limits in Bihar increased from 50% to 65%. Earlier there was 50% and that was the cap which was there when we are talking about the Indira Sahani judgment. Okay, but it was increased to 65%. Why? Because they said there are 20% SCs, 2% STs, 18% backward classes, 25% extra backward classes, and this total becomes 65%. Okay, that is 65% reservation which has been given. Okay, plus we have 10% reservation for the EWS. So that total becomes 75% of the reservation, and that is violation of the cap which was put by the Indira Sahni, and that is why this particular reservation was challenged in the court, and now High Court has scrapped it. Okay. Now coming to the, when we are talking about the ceiling, how this ceiling came, etc. So 50% ceiling on reservation in India has a significant legal and historical context. It was established by the Supreme Court in the landmark case of Indira Sahni versus Union of India 1992 case, often referred as the Mandal Commission case. Okay, because that time Mandal Commission has come up with the recommendations, and on the basis of that particular recommendation, this you can say reservations were made. Okay. So Indira Sahni case, that becomes important for you, because this when we are talking about certain landmark cases like Keshwanand Bharti, Kyolo Holohan, Minerva Mills, and this one Indira Sahni, all these cases are important. So please keep a note of these cases. This is also known as Mandal Commission case. Okay. In Indira Sahni case, Supreme Court said that the reservation for socially and educationally backward classes should be there. Okay, and that reservation is valid, but it introduced a cap of 50% on the total reservation. That total reservation, overall reservation, whatever you are providing, that should not cross a line that is 50%. Okay, until unless there is an exceptional case, and that exceptional case was your EWS reservation, that was 10% which was given. Okay, the limit was set to maintain efficiency in the administration and prevent excessive dilution of the merit. Okay, so that was there. Now here you will see the Supreme Court has already laid down 50% limit in cases like M.R. Balaji versus State of Mysore, that is 1963, then Devadasan versus Union of India, that is 1964. In these cases, this 50% cap was there. Okay, this limit could be exceeded only in the exceptional circumstances. Okay, this cap was there in this particular cases, that was the concept was introduced, but Indira Sahni was the case wherein it was popularized, and this was the higher bench when we are talking about the Supreme Court. Okay, so that was there. Since 1992, the issue has been litigated frequently with various states like Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Haryana, Andhra Pradesh, seeking to increase the reservation beyond 50% for specific communities like Maratha, Patels, Jats, and Kapus. So when we are talking about these states, they have gone for the populist measures, and they have gone for increase in the reservation. So litigations has been there again and again. So that was the case. Then Supreme Court has generally upheld the 50% ceiling to balance affirmative action and maintain meritocracy and the administrative efficacy. Okay. Now when this cap was put, or when it was said that there can be reservation on the basis of socially and the educationally backward classes, in that thing it was said that to make sure that administrative efficacy or efficiency is maintained. Okay, so that was what court has said. So that is the thing that court has said, that there can be a limit, that is 50%, so that the meritocracy and the administrative efficacy stays. Okay, then exceptions, as I told you, there is one exception, that is economically weaker sections, that is EWS, which was given in 10%. Otherwise also in that particular judgment it was also said that if you are going for the exceptional cases, there should be a quantifiable data, that quantifiable data should be there to show that these communities are not adequately represented. When it was said that there should be administrative efficiency, meritocracy, etc., they have also said that there should be a clause of adequate representation. Okay, so if these communities, or if these someone is showing you that these communities are not adequately represented, and in that particular case you can give a particular, you can say, reservation. Okay, so that is where these exception come into picture, that is basically adequate representation. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now here you can say some states have attempted to shield their reservation laws from judicial scrutiny by placing them in 9th schedule of the constitution. However, recent judicial trends indicates that the law placed in the 9th schedule may not always be immune from the judicial review, especially concerning violation of fundamental rights. As I told you, violation of fundamental rights, or if there is a change in the basic structure of the constitution. Okay, so in that case judicial review can be done. Okay, so that is about reservation, that is about the Indira Sahni case. That is, there are two other cases which I have already mentioned. There is a 50% cap, and then Bihar government. Other than that, you must have heard about this Maratha reservation issue. That was also on the similar lines. Okay, they are also breaching the cap, etc. but they have given another recently they have given the you can say reservation outside OBC, but again there was this thing that it is also you can say contested, so that is there. So there are communities like Marathas, and we have talked about the Patels. So these are communities which are asking for the reservation, and but there is a cap, and because of which government has to go through a scrutiny of the court as well to make sure that that reservation stays. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, now moving further. Second was related to your pro-tem speaker. Okay, so someone has already told that article 94 and 95 in the constitution which are talking about speakers and the pro-tem speakers, so that can be important for you, so you can keep a note of that. Okay, here we will see Mehtab made pro-tem speaker, Congress says convention flaunted. Okay, so when we are talking about the convention flaunted, so as I told you earlier when we had discussion on the pro-tem speaker, the thing is there was this convention that the senior most member who is there in the Lok Sabha, that will be made the pro-tem speaker. Okay, but again that was a convention. The procedure is that there will be a list which will be coming from the you can say ministry to the prime minister will approve that list will go to the president, and then president will appoint a pro-tem speaker. Okay, now this time what has happened is that there is this person, that is M.K. Suresh. This person is the senior most because he is, I guess he has been the member for the 8th term now. Okay, and then we have Bhartrihari Mehtab, and he was the 7th term member. Okay, so obviously he is the senior most member, but he was surpassed, and this person, that is MP Bhartrihari Mehtab, he was made a pro-tem speaker, and there are team of other people who will be assisting him. Okay, now that is why when we are talking about the MP K. Suresh, he is from the opposition. Okay, and he is also from the a different party over there, not from the BJP, but there are allies, etc. So that is there. Now the thing is that our problem over here is that what happens if the convention was not followed. Now the thing is, it is a convention, it is not a well established rule or a law. Okay, so nothing can happen because conventions can be changed. That is one thing. Second thing is, our focus will be on what is pro-tem speaker and how it is appointed. Okay, and news, I have already told you that there was this convention which was not followed this time, and convention is to go for the senior most member. Now why do we need pro-tem speaker? Because when we are talking about the term of a speaker, that is basically related to the life of the Lok Sabha. Okay, now when we are talking about the outgoing Lok Sabha, speaker will stay over there until unless there is the first meeting of the new Lok Sabha. Okay, so our last speaker, Mr. Om Birla, that person will hold the you can say office till the new Lok Sabha meets. But as soon as the new Lok Sabha meets, he will be out of the office. Okay, but you know that in Lok Sabha there should be a chairperson, and that chairperson will ensure oath and affirmations of the member, or you can say oath taking ceremonies of the members. Okay, someone has to administer the oath, and he will be the person who will be administrating the oath. So now, since this speaker, outgoing speaker, has vacated the office, who will be administering the oaths? Okay, because in Lok Sabha, if you are going for the proceeding, before proceeding you have to take the oath. Okay, now for that particular oath taking or the administration of that particular oath, there should be a pro-tem speaker, and now that pro-tem speaker will be appointed by president, and president will mostly, in the cases as per the convention, he will appoint the senior most member of the Lok Sabha, and then he will go for the administration of the oath, then he will go for the election of a new speaker. As soon as that speaker election completes, the new speaker will take office, and the term of that or you can say office of that pro-tem speaker will be till that point of time. Okay, so that is the duty or the role of the pro-tem speaker. Now coming to this content over here, pro-tem speaker, it is a word, pro-tem word, it is a Latin word that means that for the time being or the temporary. Okay, so for the time being, just to administer the oath and to oversee the election of the new speaker. Okay, so that is there. Second, pro-tem speaker is an acting speaker appointed for a limited period. So that is what the meaning is, for the time being, or the pro-tem word. Okay, need for pro-tem speaker, speaker of Lok Sabha, Vidhan Sabha resigns before the first sitting of the newly elected house. Okay, as I told you, they will be resigning before the first sitting, then someone should be there to chair the assembly over there, and that is why this particular pro-tem speaker, this office was created, or you can say this post was created. Okay. Now coming to the next part, here you will see president or the governor appoints a pro-tem speaker to preside over the sitting of newly elected house. In case of our parliament or Lok Sabha, we have president appointing it, and in Vidhan Sabha we have, you can say, governors appointing it. Parliamentary practice is usually the senior most member of the house is appointed as the pro-tem speaker. Okay, duties of the pro-tem speaker, if we talk about, pro-tem speaker presides over the first sitting of the Lok Sabha, administers the oath of the office to the newly elected MPs, then conduct voting of the speaker and the deputy speaker. Okay, so that is the thing. Now please remember, the voting of speaker and deputy speaker both are done by the pro-tem speaker. Okay, so that is one thing. Other than that, when we are talking about the oath or you can say administration of the oath of the pro-tem speaker, so that is done by the president in Lok Sabha and governor in the states. Okay, so that is clear. Then there are certain members who will be helping the pro-tem speaker. Then when there will be a pro-tem speaker, there will be 3 members which will be helping the pro-tem speaker in conducting all this business. Okay, the oath of these 3 members will be taken by the or administered by the pro-tem speaker. Okay, I hope that is clear. Pro-tem speaker's oath is administered by the president. Okay, these members who are assisting him, their oath will be administered by the pro-tem speaker. Now pro-tem speaker and these people will ensure that they are administering oath of every member of the Lok Sabha, newly appointed Lok Sabha. Okay, afterward there will be elections of speaker and the deputy speaker. Okay, so that is about speaker, pro-tem speaker, and how they are appointed. Okay, now coming to the next part, that is related to the bring significant relief for CM given PMLA's high section 45 bars for bail. Okay, when we are talking about the section 45 of the PMLA, it says that no accused shall be released on bail unless the court is satisfied that there are reasonable ground for believing that he is not guilty of such offence and that he is not likely to commit any offence while he is on bail. Now this is the section 45 of the PMLA. Okay, what it is saying, that you will not be giving the bail when we are talking about the okay, what is the 9th schedule of the constitution? Okay, so when we are talking about the 9th schedule of the constitution, the thing is there are certain laws which are placed, laws by the parliament or laws by the state, which are placed under this, or you can say in the 9th schedule it is a list of certain laws. Okay, under which earlier there was no judicial review or judicial scrutiny. Okay, so when we are talking about first constitutional amendment or such things, they were placed under this particular 9th schedule. Okay, so that court cannot have a much say in that. Okay, but the thing is, after certain time there was various cases, and the important one is the 9th schedule case, that is Kyoto-Holohan case. In that particular case, it was said that even if you are putting it inside the 9th schedule and if it is violating the basic structure or the fundamental rights, okay, in that case they can go for the judicial scrutiny or the judicial review. So earlier there was no judicial review when we are talking about the 9th schedule, but after Kyoto-Holohan there was this judicial scrutiny, and they have said that whatever laws which has been placed after 24th of April 1973, that is the judgment day of the Keshwanand Bharti case, after that if you have put something in that 9th schedule, then it means that that will still be under the judicial review. All those statutes which are there before this particular day, 24th April 1973, in those cases there cannot be a judicial review. Okay, so that is about your 9th schedule and the Kyoto-Holohan case. Okay, now coming to the next part here, for section 45 of clause 1 of the statute, that is PMLA, Prevention of Money Laundering Act. This is the act under which our Delhi CM Arvind Kejriwal was booked, and he was inside the jail. He was given a bail for the, you can say, election campaigning. Afterwards he was sent back to the jail, and now the court has granted the bail to him. Now when we are talking about the PMLA or the UPA acts, etc., they are having certain special provisions. Okay, now when we are talking about the PMLA, there are chances that the person who is involved in the money laundering or who is involved in any kind of black money related things, there are chances that he might flee the country, he might leave from the country. So in such cases, otherwise also if that person is kind of influential, there are chances that he might go for influencing the evidence, etc., and that is why the bail is denied to them. Okay, that is the general rule. And section 45 says that court can grant bail. Okay, court will not give bail until unless they are of the opinion that that person has not committed such crime, or even if he is going outside, he will not be a threat, or he will not go for evidence tampering or anything which can, you know, basically derail the investigation, etc. Okay. So ultimately the aim to not grant the bail was that he must not flee the country, or he will not be interfering with the you can say investigation. Okay. In this particular case, court has given you can say bail to the to Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, saying that there are chances that, you know, we can take an inference out of it, because when we say that under 45 clause 1 bail was granted, so that is basically saying that the court has the reasonable ground to believe that he is not guilty of such offense, and that he is not likely to commit any offense while on the bail. Okay. So on this regard, the Chief Minister of Delhi has been granted the bail. Okay. So that is there. This is one key reason why the securing bail under the PMLA is very difficult, and most accused end up spending several months, if not years, behind the bar before the court grants them bail. Okay. So similarly, Mr. Kejriwal has also been inside the jail for a while. So that is about this section 45 clause 1 of the this particular PMLA Act. Okay. As I told you, PMLA and UPA, these are special acts wherein certain provisions, or you can say when we are talking about the provisions related to charge sheet in UPA, etc., these are basically tweaked. Okay, because these are certain exceptional situations. Okay. So that is about this thing, and recently this bail has been granted to the CM of Delhi. Okay. Now coming to the next, that is basically hooch. Okay. Recently in Tamil Nadu, there are certain 38 people who has died because of consumption of hooch. Hooch is kind of you can say alcohol. Okay. The name for cheap homespun alcohol is derived from the Hoochinu, that is an Alaska tribe known for its potent liquor. Okay. So there is this tribe in Alaska. Alaska, you know that there is a, you know, country in USA, Alaska. Okay. Sorry, I mean state in USA, Alaska. Hoochinu is the tribe which is living over there, and they are famous for their alcohol. Okay. Now what has happened recently in Tamil Nadu, certain people has actually gone for the this particular hooch, and hooch is not a particular kind of alcohol. You can say that it is the kind of the way it is prepared. Okay. So by using this hooch, or you can say consumption of this particular hooch, there are 38 people who died, and there are several who are hospitalized, and because of which it was in news. When we are talking about the branded alcohol or the other normal alcohol which is for the consumption, you know that there are various processes through which it has to be you can say go through various processes, and there are certain standards which has to be followed. Okay. And there are certain, when we are talking about the safety rules, etc., all these things has to be followed when we are talking about the preparation of these alcohol. But when we talk about this hooch, that is, you know, made in a environment which is not safe. Okay. Unhealthy, unhygienic environment. Okay. And these rules are not, or the proper procedure is not followed over here. Okay. Now coming to the what is hooch, unlike the branded liquors which is produced in the factories with sophisticated equipment, rigorous quality control, hooch is made in the crude settings. It may be disagreeable to one's taste buds, and it is simply meant to intoxicate. Okay. So when we are talking about this you know, hooch, that hooch is to intoxicate. Okay. So the kind of you can say feeling which you get after drinking alcohol, hooch is just for that. There might be, you know, a thing that you won't like the taste, but the thing is the kind of effect you will get for which people are consuming hooch. Okay. Now it is done in an unhygienic, or you can say in an environment which is not sophisticated as the factories or for the branded alcohol. Okay. And if it is not prepared in a right way, it might kill people. Okay. So that is what has happened in the Tamil Nadu right now. There are processes for making hooch, that is fermentation and distillation. Okay. We don't have to go into details of these processes. So come over here, we will take an overview of this hooch. Hooch refers to a low quality, often illicitly distilled alcohol. Illicitly distilled means that it is not following the proper procedures. Okay. And that is not allowed, obviously. Produced in crude settings without proper quality controls. Now production process, if we talk about, that involves fermentation. Fermentation means that there will be yeast and sugar. Okay. So you know, these are you know, microorganisms which are there for the, you can say, fermentation. And then distillation, that is basically separation of alcohol from a particular compound. Okay. So that is there. Then crude distillation methods lead to high concentration of the methanol, which is toxic. Okay. Now this method which they are following, these are raw methods. Okay. And in these methods, there can be a possibility that quantity of methanol will be more. Okay. Now methanol is toxic. It is also an alcohol, but it is toxic. When we are talking about for our consumption, we generally use ethanol, okay. But there are certain cases wherein there is some traces of methanol are there, but that might not be very harmful, okay. Obviously it is harmful, but relatively not much. But the thing is, when you are going for the raw settings, in that case this methanol quantity might increase, and this increase in the methanol quantity ultimately cause harms in your body, okay. Moving further, you will see why hooch is dangerous. There are many risks associated with the raw alcohol or hooch. Methanol concentrated during the distillation is highly toxic if consumed. Then lack of temperature control in the distillations make it unsafe, okay. So as I told you, these are happening in the raw settings, and that is why temperature control is not there. Then impact on the health and treatment part we won't be discussing. We will be talking about the impact on the health. Methanol ingestions causes severe toxicity, metabolic acidosis and vision impairment, okay. So there can be issues with respect to the your vision. There can be acidity related issues, and then there can be severe toxicity because methanol is toxic, a condition in which the body produces too much acid which cannot be excreted through the kidney, okay. So that is the condition, that is acidosis, okay. So these are the impacts which is caused by the methanol on our body, okay. So that was about the hooch. Now coming to the next part, that is, will consider supplying arms to Ukraine, South Korea after Russia, North Korea inked a pact, okay. You know that Russia and North Korea are quite close these days, okay. China, Russia, North Korea, these countries are with each other, and they have actually signed a pact related to the defense equipment, etc. So South Korea, which is against the North Korea, or you can say South Korea and North Korea are you can say having some kind of problems, okay. So South Korea said that we will be supporting Ukraine, okay. So that was there in news. Now what kind of equipment has been exchanged, etc., that is not important for us. What is important is that where is South Korea, where is North Korea, okay, how they are separated, okay. So that is there. Second thing is, Putin signs a deal with Vietnam, okay. Similarly, when we are talking about the deals related to infrastructure, etc., science and technology, etc., so this kind of deal of cooperations has been signed with the Vietnam, okay. So now we will be talking about North Korea, South Korea and Vietnam, okay. So for maps, let's see over here. This is Vietnam. You know that yesterday we have talked about the South Asian countries, and one of them is Vietnam, okay. So this area over here, that is basically Vietnam, okay. Now Vietnam has a boundary with first China. This is the boundary with China. Second with Laos, okay. So that is there with Laos, and then we have boundary with Cambodia, okay. So these are the three countries with which Vietnam has a boundary, okay. Other than that, when we are talking about this particular area over here, that is basically your South China Sea. When we talk about South China Sea, there are certain islands which has been disputed between you can say Vietnam and China and Philippines, which we have already discussed in our previous lectures. So you can go through that. There was this map, you can extract that particular map, okay. Other than that, there is this Gulf of Tonkin, and then there is the Gulf of Thailand, okay. So I hope this is clear. That can be easy for you to understand, okay. Coming to the next part, that is basically South Korea and North Korea. Obviously, you know that when we are talking about the Russia, there is this some peninsulas are there, okay. So this peninsula over here, okay, that is basically having North Korea and South Korea. This is China, and above which we have Russia that side, okay, and this is the East China Sea is this side, okay. Then we have Japan. Now North Korea is there, and then we have South Korea in the southern part, okay. And the you can say when we are talking about the capital, that is Pyongyang, North Korea's capital, and Seoul is capital of South Korea. And now these two countries are basically divided by this line, that is basically 38th parallel, okay. 38th parallel is the line which is dividing North Korea from South Korea, okay. And there is also a demilitarized zone, okay. There is also a part which is demilitarized, okay. There is this agreement that they will not go for a militarization of that particular part, but this you can say relations of North Korea and South Korea are not very good. When we are talking about North Korea is mostly supported by Russia, China, okay. And then when we are talking about the South Korea is mostly supported by USA, okay. When we are talking about the Cold War, there was these blocks USSR and USA. At that point of time, the North Korea was part of that particular USSR block, okay, and South Korea was part of USA block, okay. Other than that also, this was the area which was, you can say, a playground at the time of the Cold War. Okay, Cold War was the time when these two countries like Russia, or you can say USSR and USA, they did not go for the direct confrontation with each other, but there were certain arenas where there was this war, and in the background they were playing the role. Okay, so but one such place was this you can say Korean Peninsula. Okay, so that is about Korea, now North Korea and South Korea. Okay, I hope that is clear. And here you can see this is basically your East China Sea. So, okay, now coming to next, that is your for your own reads, that is engaging China in Modi 3.0. Okay, so you can go through this article. Since there are many people who will be preparing for mains, you can extract at least 5, 6, 7 points out of it. Okay, and make sure that you prepare a notebook wherein these points are related, because you don't have to go for every article on China. You just have to read 2 or 3 articles from different perspectives, and then you have to utilize that information and reproduce in the main. Extract only that kind of information which you can reproduce in the mains, or not necessarily the difficult ones, or the you can say which you cannot even remember. That is of no use. Okay, so take out the relevant information which you can reproduce in the mains, so you can take certain points out of it. Okay, if you want, you can actually write down the name of the author as well, because that will add credibility to your answers. Okay, so that is for those people who want to read it. Okay, now last part, that is basically practice question. Which ancient Chinese traveler visited Nalanda University and left detailed account of its splendor? Okay, Fa Hin, Huanzhang, okay, Itzing and Zhang He. Okay, now these names can be different when we are talking about the Chinese names in our books, etc. Various books gives different names. Okay, but the pronunciations are almost similar, so don't get confused, because there might be a chance that in when we are talking about such questions, you have to make sure that you are reading them right. You have to make sure that you are getting that right. Okay, so that this name over here, that is Huanzhang. Okay, you must have read it like this, Huan Sang. Okay, so this is how, just pay a note, or you can pay attention while you are solving such questions. So Fa Hin, Huanzhang, Itzing and Zain He. Okay, so these are the 4 names, out of which there is this person who has come to visit India, and he has gone through Nalanda University, and he has given a details you can say explanation, or you can say detailed picture of his you can say expedition over there. Okay, so you can attempt this question and answer in the comment box. So that is all about today's discussion. There was this comment that, sir, from where we get this newspaper? First of all, you will be getting it from the Indian Express sites only. Otherwise, when we are talking about this particular PDF which we have discussed, you will be getting this PDF from the Telegram channel, and the link is given in the description. You can go through that particular link and download the you can say this PDF, because we will be uploading this PDF after like 2-3 hours. Okay, so I hope that is clear now. Okay, so that's all for today. Have a nice day. If you have not subscribed the channel, subscribe it. Thank you. Bye.